Hello viewers, thank you for tuning in to yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030, where we are talking about becoming an upper middle class economy by year 2030. And one fundamental way we can achieve that is through agriculture. You would find that well over 67% of our population here in Zimbabwe makes a living out of agricultural ventures. Now in this episode, we are advocating for diversifying at your farm. We are looking at having multiple streams of income at your farm, having various enterprises, be it cropping, be it even livestock. Today we are going to be looking at horse breeding right here in Zimbabwe. And to discuss this and more, I've taken the liberty of inviting an expert who's been in the industry for well over 20 years. I am going to be talking to Mr. Trimo Niklos, a well-known, a renowned horse breeder right here in Zimbabwe. Mukoma Trimo, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, thank you very much.
As we get into our discussion, Trimo, can you talk to us in terms of what does it take for a person to say, I want to invest in horse breeding like what you're doing here? What are we looking at in terms of capital, in terms of the prerequisites that a Zimbabwean farmer needs to have a successful horse breeding venture?
Okay, if you want to start to keep the horses, what you need is a capital, because this animal is different to a cow, because it needs feed every time, and then whatever you have to go through, if you just have a scratch mark on a skin, you have to treat it, so it needs a lot of money to take care of it. And then when you start to have a horse, generally most of them, like the ones we have here, is for polo.
Okay.
There's a game called polo that you can play a ball while we are riding a horse. And then there is a game, a horse race. And then there is the horses for show jumping, and you have horses for a polo cross. It's another game as well. And then we have general horses for the farm.
Yes.
For those who keep cattle, and then you want to take off your cattle, the horses, they are good for that as well. So normally if we say we want a horse for the farm, for the cattle, we normally take the horses that which have failed to play polo. Okay. And then some of them, they might be getting older for the game, even for the race course or for the polo, and then we can take them to the farm. Okay. That will be fine for taking care of the animals in the farm.
We are looking at a very expensive animal to take care of in terms of maintenance.
Yes.
Can you talk to us in terms of the housing arrangements? What are they like? Where we are standing in here, we are standing within a paddock. Then we also have some houses, those that you refer to as stables. Yes. What are we looking at in terms of your housing? Even maybe the prerequisites of what it should look like. You'd find that in cattle ranching, sometimes people just leave their cattle within an open field. Yes. But we are talking to horses in this episode. Yes. What is it like in terms of housing?
Right, on this animal here, a horse needs a proper care. We have what we call a stable. That's the shelter for the horse. And then what we have to do during the night, we keep our horses in the stables. During the day, we take them out for grazing in the paddocks. So what you have to do is, your paddock must be clean. Look after the logs, the hose, anything that might hurt the horse, you have to clear it. Your paddock must be clean and well kept as well. And the stable as well, your stable must be clean as well. You have to put some what we call the fly traps. Okay. Because we don't want them to be affected with the flies as well. You have to keep the fly traps. And then the stables must be cleaned every day in the morning. Okay. The stable must be dry. Yes. Because it have wet during the night. It urinates in the stable. Yes. And then you have to dry it. Normally some of the people use the hay for bedding, what we call a bedding, where it sleeps. And then others use the shavings, you know the shavings? Yes. For bedding as well. So in the morning, you pick up all the shit, and then you leave the dry material on, dry hay or the dry shavings. Okay. That's what you keep in the stable. And then clean water as well. Every day you have to change the water. This thing needs the clean water every time, fresh water like. Okay, you know what happens if you give it, you keep the water maybe for 3 days, the water, and it starts to have a smell. It won't drink. Yes. It's just have another sensitive, I don't know. It won't drink that water. So what we have to do each and every day, we have some buckets that we keep. Each horse have got its bucket, 20-liter bucket that we give every day. You have to clean it.
Now, try more. I'm looking at your beautiful horses. Their hide is very polished, it's shiny. Kutodarika skin yedu isusu vanhu.
Yes.
If you look at it against the sunlight, it's such a lovely brown color that is very shiny and it looks polished.
Yeah.
What do you use to maintain that hide?
Okay, what we do when cleaning, brushing these horses, we have the brushes that they've got in different types. We have what we call a curry comb, and then that's the one we use first to rub the whole body. When we are brushing a horse, we have to go in a circular motion.
Okay.
Rub it round, and then after using a curry comb, you use what we call a body brush. A brush which is similar to the one they use in the houses for shining the floor. Yes, that's what we call a body brush. And then you dust off all that we have removed with the curry comb.
Okay.
And then after using the body brush, we have a wiper, any cloth,
Okay.
or even a towel, bathing towel, with something which is nice. That if you just polish, all the dust, all the fur that is out will just come out.
Okay.
That's the secret on how to
I'm
brush.
assuming that you really need to be gentle.
Yes.
We are talking of a high maintenance animal.
Yes.
Now, as we round off this segment, Trimo, can you talk to us in terms of maybe Bizamaivane Pamuiri? How long does it take for her to produce a foal? We're talking of the mares being pregnant, its gestation period, up to being maybe producing the foal. And in terms of maybe feeding the milk, munozorumura the winning stages, at what stage, at what age, what weeks, months, etc. as we close.
Okay. Yeah, on the horse pa now we put horse run pregnant, run pamuviri. It takes about 9 months for it to produce a foal. And then after 9 months, when it's delivered, we keep a mother with the baby for 6 months.
Okay.
Breastfeeding, and then we take off the foal. Tarumura mwana wewe tochisa mai pao, and then when you take off the baby from the mother, you have to keep them a distance. Because what happens is, if the mother cries or the baby cries, if they hear each other the voice, they will be fighting. They just want to become closer. So you have to maybe transfer it from your place to someone's place for a certain period.
Kilometers away.
Yes, for a certain period. And then when the baby forgot about its mother,
then you can bring
it back.
When we are looking at these mares and the fowls, do you have specific feed for a mother that is lactating, that is breastfeeding? What do you do when it comes to taking care of the mares as we round off?
Okay, yeah, normally on the mares, there is a special feed for them when you take off the baby from it. There is what we call a 10% feed, which has got high protein. We have 12%, we have 14%, different types of feed that we have. So you have to feed your, because when it gives birth, and then it will come slim as well.
Yes.
So you have to maintain it, lose weight. So you have to bring back the weight again. So you have to feed it nicely, or even twice a day, in the morning, afternoon, and then in the evening as well.
Even try more panyaya kuti maya vabva kubereka the mare, how long does it take for it kuti ritange futi kutaswa ridzoke to its routine of recreational purposes, rekuentertain vanhu and stuff?
Chinoitika kana rabva mukuzvara, tikarumura mwana, you know mukaka unenge uchiri kusisa kana marumura. So you take time when you take off the baby. It might need 2-3 months when the milk is dry from the mother, and then you can start working.
Now fit.
It's now fit. You can start working on it. Yes.
Thank you so much, Trimo, for such a detailed presentation. On that note, viewers, we have come to the end of the first segment. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Now, here on Agribusiness, we advocate for a farmer to have various streams of income on their farm. Now, viewers, encourage you to be a part of these conversations. feel free to get in touch with the producer Wadzanai Manyore on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Leave your comments and suggestions and make a follow-up on this episode and more on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are now also available on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's at Agribusiness 110. Now, earlier on, before into the break, we're looking at ana amai varikuzvara kuti kana razvara zvinotora nguva yakadii kuti ridzoke muresi, ridzoke pakutasva, and also being for recreational purposes or entertaining us people. Now, Mkoma, try more.
Yes.
Before we went to the break, we looked at how these horses are maintained,
yes,
even kana riri kubereka nemwana waro.
Yes.
I understand that here at your farm, you have 4 categories. You have the foals, you have the mares, you have the geldings, you have the stallions.
Yes.
Can you talk to us in terms of what does this mean when you say this is a foal, this is a gelding, this is a stallion, and so forth? And also look at the diseases that may be prevalent maybe to the mothers, the mares.
Right, when we are talking of 4 categories of the horses, we start with what we call a stallion. A stallion is a male horse that gives birth to the foals, okay? And then a gelding, when we are saying a gelding, is a horse that have been castrated. When we say castrated, tirutaura nezvekuti horse mukono wakatenwa. Usisabereki. That's what we call a gelding. And then the mare, that's the mother. The mother doesn't have any problem. If you just give a mare to the stallion, and then you can have a baby, a foal from it. And then a foal, it's a baby horse. So when the mother gives birth to the foal, there are certain diseases that might attack. Especially when the horse gave birth without someone taking care of it. It might, the bacteria will enter the stomach, and then it will be affected as well. Just the same to the humans as well, you see. So whenever you have to take your records, because when we met these 2 horses, a stallion and a mare, we write down. We've mixed them together on a certain date, the first round, and then we keep the records, and then we calculate our days. Normally we have to make sure on the 5th day on the month of June, we are going to have a foal. So from that time, from that day, you have to be able, someone must be there every hour, even during the night, to see when the time comes. So that they might not have any problem. Because the other thing, when it gave birth alone as well, it might kick as well the baby. So someone must be there every time. That's the issue with the foals and the mother as well.
Now the diseases, now looking at mahosa katenwa, ma geldings, do they have diseases? The stallions, do they have diseases? The foal, does it have diseases?
Normally on these animals, the disease that we normally have, we have a deadly disease, what we call a horse sickness. That disease normally attack in rain season. So everyone have got the horse, they have to inject their horses, what we call a horse sickness prevention. We give them injection starting from this month, with the month of giving them horse sickness. What happens, that disease called horse sickness, if you look at a horse, on its head they've got some like a hole on top of the eye. So when that thing starts to swollen, coming out, and then the eyes will turn red, and then when the tears comes out, it will be blood, and then the tongue will turn into purple. When the horse attacked by horse sickness, if you didn't look at it quickly, it won't last for 24 hours. It's a deadly disease. Yes. And then another disease we have is the one that the tick-borne, that caused by the ticks. So you have to dip your horses maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks to take care of the ticks. That's the disease that affects all the types of horses.
Now try more. Looking at your feeding regimen,
yes,
as we are standing here, there is hay, yes, and I can see some buckets of water.
Yes.
Do you only feed hay, or you also have some supplementary feeds, yeah, that support the nutrition of a horse? To say what type of feed are you using? Okay,
what we do when we are feeding, we have the feed that I've mentioned before. It depends with what you want on your horse. You want it to go fat, or you want to keep it on a certain size. And then you have to have a measurement. Like in the morning, you give it 2 kg each horse. and then you say you don't feed for lunch, you feed them later on the evening another 2 kg, which means the horse might get 4 kgs a day. Or even you say 1 kg in the morning, 1 kg afternoon, and then 1 kg in the evening, which means it gets 3 kgs. And then we have this hay that we bale from the grass. We have the special grass that we call katambora. That's a good for the horses. That hay is good for the horses. And then we have what we call ray grass. That one we can grow. It's a green grass. We cut it while it's still green. We cut it and then we give to our horses as well. And then we have that we call lucerne as well. It's a plant that we grow as well, like on a field.
Yes.
And then we cut it with a sickle. When you cut it again, it will grow again. So you keep on cutting, feed the horses, watering it, and then it grows again.
Okay.
So that the supplement we give to the horses.
Okay.
Yes.
Now try more as we close this segment. Do you have scenarios wekuti bizai rafutisa, like what we have muhuku in layers? You might find kuti huku inoita mafuta haichakandiri mazai, haichaiti basa rayo yangogara.
Yeah.
Do we have the same kind of scenario in horse production where you have an overweight horse?
Yes.
Mauda kwenda ku polo, when you go to polo it's not performing.
Yes.
If you want to, maybe you have visitors or you have those ones that we want to have it for recreation, varuda kutasva harisi kuperforma, or even scenarios whereby a horse is underweight. How do you take care of that?
Right, that's a good question. When it comes to that one, you have to be a good management on the horse,
Yes.
the fitness as well. So it's like when we look at the polo horses, they are different to the racecourse horses, the one that runs at the racecourse.
Yes.
The one at the racecourse, there's a certain weight they keep for it to go fast when it gets into the race.
Yes.
And then these ones for the polo as well, we have a certain weight that we keep. That's why I say, normally, if you see that your horse have just grown fat, you cut off your feed as well. That's how you maintain it. Okay. If it goes down as well, you can easily see that, hey, my horse is going down. Let me increase the feed. So you might say, okay, this horse has gone down, I have to increase, maybe I will give it lunch. Rather than to give it 2 times a day, I will give it lunch, 2 kgs in the morning, maybe 1 kg for lunch, and then another 2 kg in the evening. You get into the 5 kgs. So after a week, you can see a change.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Try more. On that note, viewers, we're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. Do you know that as a farmer, apart from your other enterprises, you can include horse breeding or horse production? It is very lucrative. In this very episode and in this very segment, we have reserved it to look at the gains, the financial gains, or the lucrativeness of the venture. We are here with Trimo, a renowned horse breeder here in Zimbabwe. Trimo, we are here in the third and final segment. We'll come back.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Trimo, looking at our horses, I want us to talk generally the pricing model. What are we looking at? Stallion, a mature stallion one, Ringaita Mari, the range is in US dollars, of course.
Okay, right. When it comes to price, they are just different. When you have to say the stallion, what you have to do is, like these polo horses, we have the stallion, they choose the good stallion that played polo before, and then it was a champion as well.
Yes.
That's when they
put the price.
Yes, and then that's where they get that. This is a good stallion. So what they do on looking for a good stallion as well. When the father has played a good polo, which means the baby as well
is good.
Is good as well.
Are perfect.
That's why they look. And then when it comes as well to the race, when the stallion have run good race and they've got a lot of winning races as well. And then when it gets old, they say that this one is a good stallion.
It's a good breed.
It's a good breed. So if we have the force from this horse,
they'll be perfect.
The generation will just keep on.
Yes.
So they are just different in the price. Like a horse, a mature horse, a good horse like this for polo, you might get it for, if we say the one which is less might be 5,000 US dollars, 12,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Different. It's just being sold with the way it played as well.
Okay.
You see.
Now try more. For it to be regarded as a fully mature horse that can support human weight on top of it, how old will it be in terms of months or years? And in terms of weight, what are we looking at? It can support Wadzanai akarita shaisoke rinokwanisa kufamba. What are we looking at?
Okay, on the age, we can say we start to break in. What we call break in is like when it comes from a 4, start to ride it.
Okay.
At around 3 years, we start up with it, and then 4 years, 5 years, it's a now mature horse.
Okay.
Anyone can ride it. Okay, and then when it comes for the weight, a normal horse, normally most of the horses that you look here, their average weight will be 500 kgs.
Okay.
That's the average weight for a horse.
In terms of a horse that is 500 kgs, what kind of a human weight can it support?
On a 500 kg horse, even someone who can say 110 kgs can jump on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have scenarios whereby you look at your horse when you are here, Masara, and say, this horse has been abused, it has been overridden, it's tired, it's been used. What does it look like, and how do you take care of such a horse?
Right. Normally, when the horse have been overweighted with someone, it will start to have a problem, the back problem.
Oh.
So when someone rides the horse with the overweight as well, the moment he comes off, you can see the way it works. The steps will change, and then you see there is a pain. There is like the muscles are tense. So when you try to stretch the muscles, you use your arm with the fingers going backwards to the what we call a hind quarter, the one at the back. Stretch it at the back, and then you can see it will be like twisting its back.
Oh.
And then you know there's
pain.
There's pain at the back.
Now finally, try more. I heard you talking to the horses, calling out their names. Can you just give us a brief rundown of the names that you have here for the females, for the foals, the babies, for the stallions? What are the names that you normally name your horses?
Yeah, we have different names. Each horse that you see here
is a name.
A name.
Okay, what's the name of this one?
This one is called Equus.
Okay.
This is the best playing polo in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Equus.
He's very gentle.
Yes. And that one we call it a pony. It's an old horse, this one.
Oh,
its type is a pony. It won't grow up.
It doesn't grow tall.
No, it's like that.
It's the average size.
Yes.
Okay.
That one called the Rhino.
Okay.
It's a Rhino. And then we have Washington.
Yeah, Washington is very naughty.
Yes, the one which was coming on the yes.
What would you want to say to our Zimbabwean farmers who want to get into horse breeding? Where can they go to get their start-up horses?
Right. Chinoitika pa nawe ma horses kana utanga ma horses. Horse harifidwe nehuswa chete. You don't have to rely on hay when you want to keep a horse. A horse needs a proper feed. That's why you see when you go out to the farms as well, you see some of the horses are very thin.
Yes.
They just yes. So vanoita vanongosiya achienda semombe. They don't take care of it much. They say that it's just an animal like other animals.
It's just like a dog or
yes, like a donkey as well. So this one is different from the other. It needs its proper feed. Okay. So if you don't have enough money to keep a horse, maybe try to have 1 or 2. Because normally if you have about, let's say you have 5 horses, 5 or 6 horses, you might need a month, you might need 1.5 ton of the feed. Okay. So it's something that needs someone who have got money and capital as well. On this, you have to keep your medicines as well. Each and everything happens to a horse. Horse skin is just similar to ours. If you just get a scratch, you have to quickly clean it
and treat it. Okay. There you heard it, viewers. In this paddock that I'm standing, this is Equus. He has 4 championships in the polo game. He is a very good horse with good genetics. From me, your host was Zanai Manyore. I'm also on Instagram. It's a W Manyore. And the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.